Hello cutters, and welcome to my walkthrough of the Station Hopper model of the Mackerel on hard difficulty. I am Icon and I'm going to show you what has changed with the 0.1.4 patch with the new Mackerel interior redesigns that have shown up. The Station Hopper has been redesigned as well, but I would say it has been impacted the least of all models of this ship. So let's get into that. I'm going to show you how to tackle the difficulties of that ship without blowing up yourself. And if you like this kind of content, drop a little subscription to my channel and you won't miss any future content. Alright, so we're going to search for the airlock first. I could use a scanner for that, but, well, I like to use my senses. Scanners are better. Use the scanner.
Airlock
Don't be
pressure
like
levels dropping.
So the start of this one here is quite simple and the same thing as we had always
Airlock
before.
pressure levels
We
increasing.
enter via the airlock, depressurize the interior here, and reopening
pressure
the
levels
airlock
increasing.
to ensure no explosive
Airlock
decompressions
pressure levels
of
dropping.
the airlock. So the Station Hopper is the same old interior which I knew, but the work order table is not the same old. So the data drive is now a work order on itself, and we have a lot of new things like the nacelles, and well, a lot of things are not that new, but with the new patch the work order is a little bit less static and gets some new things in between. So the rear room of the ship now looks different. The generator is no longer on this panel here, and the pipes here make it quite dangerous to navigate this room with the split saw. So I'm using the utility key to defuse the thruster systems. Yeah. And destroy some panels while fumbling around a little bit with the buttons. So getting the computer terminal down there and panel in there. So here I can use the split saw. On this one I rather use the stinger. So there you go. So when you use the stinger, always keep in mind that you have on your right side a angle which will destroy anything the laser touches. So if you look at the connection here, anything that crosses that line here between your target and that laser will get blown up. So basically, if I would try to cut like this, for this aluminum thing here, for example, most likely it would destroy the pipe right next to that because of the effect I just described. So always be careful when you use that stinger when there's something on your right side that's really, really vital. And also keep in mind that thing reflects. Okay, so I cut off the aft section of the ship. So next off we're going to pick up thrusters, lasering off the panel here manually with the stinger as well, because the cap is quite valuable in the processor and it's easily destroyed with the split saw. Alright, so come on, get in there. Next up, let's remove that USB drive. Come on. Much more power bank. These things remind me so much. I always think about PC interior or hardware or such things. So tethering that thing first up to the jaxes to make sure that the hungry furnaces don't eat it by accident. Believe me, those furnaces are hungry. So I want that engineering console. To do that, well, can I do that actually? I don't think so. Oh, too bad. If you know how to grab these things, please let me know. Something I'm wondering for about quite a long time. Okay, so next up I'm going to remove the fuel out of these pipes there with those valves. Once you pull that valve, the pipes don't glow yellow anymore and they're not dangerous anymore. Fuel pipes that have these yellow lights on are explosive and will bring doom on you if you touch them with your stinger. Alright, so once these valves are shut off, the fuel tanks get movable again, and so we have to remove them somehow. Here goes the problem. I don't have the room to get that out of there. So with this new design, I really like to remove that junction there to get grab a hold of these consoles, these flushing consoles, and then I toss it in there. So to show it for a moment here, I don't really get that fuel barrel out of there without lasering something off. If you are careful with your stinger, it's a quite safe operation to do. But it's quite important to know what I said before. I exploded myself several times before I started to notice that the left side of my the right-sided angle is quite dangerous. Alright, so we could now continue with the outer hull, but at this point I much more prefer to have a run for the interior next. So here is not really anything new. I'm just removing the bottom and top side panels to get some access to the interior. I really like to remove the soft crates first because they are flammable and can get ignited quite easily with your tools. So there we go. Just removing those panels as quick as I can. I really like to try to get quicker with that, but it's really an interesting job to do. So can I do that? So as you see here, I destroyed those seats by lasering right through there. So that's another thing I can only encourage any cutter to. Experiment with your tools and try something new from time to time. Try new angles. Sometimes things are just safe to cut, and yeah, sometimes you just kill yourself, but that's also part of the job. Alright, so one thing I really like about this game, it doesn't make me angry when I blow up myself, and that's always a very, very healthy sign for a game. I keep having the feeling when something bad happens that it was my own fault that this bad thing happened, and that's a really good thing. So I'm going to try to save those seats because they're quite worth some penny, and I don't want to destroy them all. So there's one more panel to go. I'm well aware of my oxygen reserves. Thank you, onboard system. You just want to keep me profitable. I respect that. Alright, so the interior room is now good to go, and I'm going to mass toss a few seats, and that's why I really like this kind of preparation. I'm saving a lot of time with this kind of method because I can just dump them in there without too much second thought. Alright, now it's time to get some oxygen. I know. Let's grapple over there. So, let's take a little break and go there. So I'm starting to lose health because of that, but nothing to be too worried about except for those funky effects. Alright. Not wanting to take that one. Well, maybe I should go a little bit earlier next time. That was a little bit inhumane. Alright, so one thing I want to point out here, if you want to keep your visit on that kind of ship with one shift, you really should try to focus on your work order and don't salvage anything that's not on your work order list, because you're getting a lot of links tokens if you're able to knock off all those work orders. So this is one thing, but if you want to go for as much salvage as possible, I'm pretty sure that it's possible to do this whole thing in 15 minutes, but that's quite a competitive approach. So right now I'm salvaging just the cockpit area, the computers, because we need electrical parts. So that's done now as well. So I'm going to head into the interiors of the ship now because I'm done with the other things. Alright, so let's do this here though. Okay, so I'm going to remove the outer hull of that ship next. So let's do this. Going to cut through all these cut points here, but I'm really starting to be careful once I get into the vicinity of energy cells or coolant barrels. And here's the energy, and here's the power core. And as you can see here, the whole section here is already falling off the grid. So I'm dropping a few tethers now onto this portion here to get it towards the jacks and remove the nacelles. Alright, so let's get there. I'm no longer careful with the pipes because that's just no longer necessary. You can't move twin nacelles without tethers, they're just too heavy with regular tools, so I'm tethering that one down to the barge and that one into the processor. So there we go. Alright. So okay. I did a little bit of a bad job here with the tethers in general, but I think it'll all fall together in a moment. So here with this cut point, I adjusting my angle a little bit more carefully because there are very, very precious things here around me and I don't want to blow them up accidentally. So here with these barrels and such, it's especially important to be careful with the whereabouts there. Okay, I'm just realizing that the back portion of the ship is just hanging around there, waiting to get processed. Okay, so outer hull gets now into the processor. And I'm starting with a coolant cell before I move the generator, because the generator arcs out electricity, and arcing electricity destroys coolant barrels quite effectively. So there we go. This side of the ship now is completed. There's one more power cell. They're not on my work order, but they're still quite worth a lot for such a simple operation, so let's do that as well. So almost done with the work orders. If I keep up a good pace, I'm able to fulfill all work orders in one shift. Okay, so let's do the nacelles here as well. And like I said before, it's not possible to do that from the inside, so I'm going back to the outside and tether that thing downwards to the barge. Alright, so to remove the rest of the outer casing, one thing first, I need to get into there and remove the rest of the cut points. So I'm floating over the airlock here, and this is a very, very nasty space to operate. So I'm getting really close to the cut point to make sure I don't accidentally blow up that coolant barrel. I really don't like to work in such confined areas, but sometimes you just have to do what a cutter has to do. Okay, so let's get back here. And one really important thing is I gotta remove this portion here, or nothing will fall apart from the ship, and maybe this one too. Basically, the pipes between the airlock and the other outside hull can block the whole thing from falling away from the hull. Okay, let's see if we did our job correctly. If I did everything except for the airlock should now fall onto the jacks. So there we go. The airlock compartment is welded closely to the main frame. You can't really remove that one. So I did a good job. This part here is singled out, and this big structure here is now also available to get removed. So if you don't remove that piece of pipe that I welded out in between, it'll hold the stuff here in place, and you won't be able to remove that portion. So we're out of time for this shift, but I'm going to finish this ship with you in the next shift. So we knocked off 2.6 million credits. We knocked off all the work orders, if I'm not wrong here. So you see, you can do this all in one shift without breaking too much of a sweat if you know what's up ahead of you. So no, we're not done completely. I'm not having all the coolant and not the metals. Okay, but well, if I would have talked less, I think I would be well through that. Alright, so let's toss that whole portion here into the processor and get done with the rest of the ship. So the airlock compartment is, like I said before, not really removable from the rest of the ship. That's why I started recently to make a use of these grids here, picking up the things here. Well, if I'm not recording, I'm really that kind of person that likes to salvage pretty much everything, but I don't want to bloat up this video unnecessarily. Alright, so now we got rid of pretty much all of the outer shell of the ship. So let's get back to this side here, because on the opposite side we had the generator. On this side we have another barrel of coolant which we need to fulfill that work order. Okay, so left now is the main grid of the ship, basically the basic skeleton of the ship and the cockpit. We're going to sever the cockpit now from the rest of the backbone there, so it's just those 4 connectors left. Split sawing them away, and now I can toss the rest of that into the furnace. So, well, I'm using the furnace here because this is a massive amount of aluminum and other furnace materials. You could also toss it into the processor if you want to have the airlock parts. It's up to you, basically. Both sides are quite okay. I personally like to do that in this order. So when you pay your last visits to the cockpit, you can remove the last pieces of equipment which you didn't remove with your last visit, and well, there's a bit of electronics in there, but I'm not interested right now. I'm going to toss that one into the processor. You can also toss that into the oh, that was bad. Hey, you're sabotaging me. So I should be I keep tethering the wrong portions of that. You could also toss that into the furnace as well, but because that glass here is worth a lot in the furnace. But overall, it's with the last pieces of the ship, I think it's down to your own taste where you put the rest of the buffalo. So that's that. I hope you've had a good overview of, about the new Station Hopper. And feel free to leave me a comment if you have the feeling I left out something, or you just want to talk about anything. I'd love to hear from you guys. So let's finish up with the rest of the billings. So that's 655k. So we would knock off around 3 millions if we would tackle that in one go. So I hope you guys enjoyed your ride, and see you next time. Goodbye.